Next is Jennifer Gruball, wants to talk about lime sludge and open dumping. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 4 minutes. Thank you.
My name's Jennifer Gruball. My husband and I live at 1730 Old Delaware Road. And I want to talk to you about the lime sludge that's being dumped behind our house openly. And I'm going to read from a prepared statement because I know I need to try to be concise, but I really could talk for hours about this because that's how much of my time it's taken up. And I want to start by sharing a story about a visit that my mother made to my property. We've lived there since 2005. She's visited hundreds of times and never had a problem until about a month ago. And she came and visited me because I told her about all the stuff that's happening back there. And she's like, well, I kind of want to go back and see it. So we took a walk back. And the entire trip, round trip, was less than 10 minutes. We never set foot on city property, so we didn't really get up close to the dump site. But about halfway through our backyard, she started to experience breathing issues. And she had to take 2 breathing treatments on her way home from my house to her house in Newark. She felt ill for days afterwards and hasn't experienced it since. But now I can't have her back to my house because it's an issue for her, health-wise, and that really detracts from me being able to enjoy my property like I am allowed to do as a citizen of the state of Ohio. And it's really hard for me to believe the things I've been told about that lime sludge being perfectly safe when I've experienced with my own eyes with my own mother that it's not. Next thing I want to address is some things from the last council meeting that may have been misrepresented or we have further questions on. Any statements I make are my own personal observation and research. It was stated that, quote, the lime never left the city property. That is untrue. The lime was loaded out of the lagoon on city property using a state highway driven to another piece of city property, leaving dust and debris the entire way. Once it was dumped at 1730 Old Delaware Road, it was left unprotected from runoff and seeping into the ground on an unpermitted site. The rains that have occurred have created runoff that has funneled into neighboring yards and into the Cocosing River. It was also stated that, quote, he says it was in his yard, referring to Mr. Daniels and then discussing the fact that the barn was over the property line. The real issue here is the runoff, not the barn location. And to correct the record, there has been runoff into multiple properties, including Mr. Daniels, that extend well beyond the surveyed city property lines. I've personally witnessed this. There's some confusion regarding the sample results that Mayor Starr shared, saying when he stated that there were no negative consequences. He stated that he was pulling the information from the samples taken from Mr. Randall Shira and sent to Brookside Labs. But the document that we were provided, and it was noted to us that the mayor was referencing, were for samples taken from the lagoons in 2021, and not from the samples from Mr. Daniels' yard. Where is the correct document? Were the samples actually taken from where this lime sludge ran off into his yard? According to sample maps that have been provided to me, they were not. It was also stated that Aerial Foundation Park wants 10 truckloads of lime, but the beneficial use permit does not allow for that. So how can you reason that if a beneficial use permit won't allow it to be put into a park, yet it can be openly dumped on a property that funnels runoff into a river and into people's yards? Where's the permit that allows for that? I can't locate the permit on the EPA website, nor can I locate it being made available by the city. Has council seen the permit that allows for that solid waste to be dumped and stored at 1700 Old Delaware Road? If I'm not mistaken, Ms. Woods, I believe you asked for this multiple times. Have you received that?
I have not.
It was stated that, quote, no ground was disturbed.
Please wrap up. Go ahead.
That's untrue. 30 plus acres behind our house have been disturbed without permit, according to the EPA chief director. I have a few more. Am I allowed?
Yeah.
2 more minutes?
I'll give her 2.
2? All right.
Everybody agrees
Am I
on it?
okay with 2 more minutes?
That-
Is it my timer?
You're going to email that to us, correct?
Yes, I would like to, if that's
Please.
acceptable.
Okay.
Do I have 2 minutes?
Yes, 2 more minutes.
Thank you. So the topsoil on the 30 plus acres behind our home was pushed back to make way for the solid waste to be dumped there. And as of August 18th, there is no material permit, stormwater runoff permit, nor landfill construction permit that has been issued to the city per Kelly Toth, the EPA Chief Director. It was stated that a, quote, written plan was given to the EPA prior to this project. Where is that written plan? It's not on the website, and I can only assume that it's not been shared with council. Myself and all of our neighbors would be very interested in seeing that plan. It was requested by Mr. Hilliard to see the data of how many farmers have taken lime and how much has been taken. Was that provided to council?
I did get that,
Okay.
or what's proposed to be taken.
Okay. Was it provided to the EPA as required by your permit?
I tasked them.
Was it provided to the EPA as required? Again, we would like to see that data. No one ever contacted my family by phone, email, or personal visit to discuss this prior to moving any of it, nor at any point, until I made contact to the city. As a good neighbor, I let my neighbors know if there's something that I'm going to do that could affect them. I think it's only decent, as humans, for the city to do the same. Regardless of what terms are used to describe that site at 1700 Old Delaware, landfill, temporary storage, whatever it may be, it is still an open dump site of solid waste until it's applied to farmers' fields, according to the beneficial use permit. That site is located within a drinking water protection area, which is intended to protect the water sources of the city of Mount Vernon, as well as the homes that access water through private wells. Why would the city want to dump waste where they pull the city's water supply from? It doesn't seem logical, but that's exactly what's happening. So what is the plan for the solid waste? How are you getting rid of it? I highly doubt there's enough farmers or parks that want this to get rid of it in a reasonable amount of time. It is one of the responsibilities of the city administration to provide information to council and to the community at large, as regardless of if they agree with having to provide the information or the effort required, this is necessary for transparency and to facilitate good decisions for the operation of the city, both of which I feel were ignored.